In Chapter 4, we will be improving the looks of the main menu. Okay, so in order to have a rotation, or orbit, for our rocket ship, we need to create a JavaScript. And we're going to call this orbit, and then we're going to add the for the main menu designation. There we go. Now we're going to add this to both our planet and also to our rocket ship. Now the reason we're adding it separately and not parenting one to the other, I would like to have the orbits look different. So I want to have the planet Earth orbit at a different speed. So let's load up Mono. Let's take a look. Right, a few things we're going to need. We're actually just going to need a variable to start off with, and that's going to be the orbit speed. That's going to be a float, and then we're just going to use an iTween function. It's the rotate by. And we've got to make sure we get game object, and this time I have capitalized the O, so I'm not going to get that arrow thrown up back up. And we're going to rotate on the X, and we're going to rotate it by 1. And the time we're going to take to rotate by is going to be our variable, so orbit speed. Also our E is typed to linear, as we always have. Don't need capital on the L. And then we'll just close the parenthesis. There we go. That all looks good. Yep. Okay, let's save that. Now if we take a look at the sphere, we actually want to change the orbit speed here. So we'll change this one to 100. Let's actually change that to, yeah, we'll leave it at 100, and then we'll put the orbit speed of this one to 5 because we want this to go quite fast around. Now we can't quite tell that the planet is turning, can we? Because it's just got the default texture on it. So let's just add a material on this. So let's go to our mesh renderer. We'll give it something. Oh, that's no good, we still can't see anything. So let's change that. We can see it in the scene view, we can't see it in the game view. We'll just set it as that, and then we should be able to tell how quickly it's rotating. So it's got a nice slow rotation. It's also rotating in a different axis, which is exactly what we want. Okay, well, we'll just set that back to default for the time being. And then what we're going to need to do is, let's take a look. Let's actually change the rocket ship, shall we? Because we could put the asteroid diffuse. Yeah, let's sort the materials out on everything. Let's pop the asteroid diffuse on. On both the asteroid objects. And then we'll grab our rocket ship and we'll do the same thing. And there we go. Give it a try and take a look. Fantastic. Don't have any particle effects coming out of the back of that, so maybe we'll look at that next. We don't want to recreate them. Can't highlight it in the scene view, in the game view. We don't want to recreate the particle effects. So what we want to do is we want to go back over to our other scene. We'll save the main menu first. We'll pop over to our level, and let's take a look. We'll create another prefab, another empty prefab, and we'll call it Exhaust PFX 1. There we go. And we'll take the hierarchy tab, we'll just move it over the side so we can drop our exhaust. We'll do exhaust burst onto PFX1. And then what we'll do is we'll create another prefab. And predictably we'll call this exhaust PFX2. And we will put the other exhaust, let's put it in the right folder first. We'll put the other particle in there as well. And then we will put the hierarchy back. We'll hop back over to the correct scene. I'll save this just in case. And then we will add in our two prefabs. We'll position these. And while we're here, we'll drop these into the rocket to make sure that they're parented, so everything moves all at the same time. And we'll just make sure they're actually coming out of. We should make sure we're actually looking at this in a non-orthographic view. There we go. That looks like everything's coming out of the correct place. If we play it, we get a lovely trail as it goes round. And what we can do is we can rotate. Oh, we don't want it on local, we want it on the pivot. There we go. We'll just rotate this around so that when we start, it zooms around the planet. It's exactly the way we want it. Just want it a little bit faster. There we go. Fine tune it a bit more. Okay. And I am happy with that. Okay, there we go, back into perspective. So what we need to do now is look at a way of creating those buttons. So another JavaScript. This time I'm going to call this button control. And then we'll add main menu designation as well. We'll open this up in Mono. Right, now that we've got this open in mono, let's set up some variables. So we need to set up a boolean. So, and this is going to be is this button that we've pressed the alternate button? And we're going to set this as false to start with. So this will be the one that isn't in the inspector. Then we need a counter. And then we're going to also need another float to use as the timing to move the button into view. So how long it moves along the eye-tween. And then the last two we're going to do are the scales. Because what we're going to do is we're going to have it so that when the mouse hovers over one of the asteroid, it's going to increase in size, and then when you take your mouse off, it's going to decrease to highlight the fact that you are on the button. Oh, we can't have spaces in here. Let's remove these. And yeah, I've forgotten to put variable at the beginning of here. Let's just change that. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go in update, and then we're going to put an if statement in, and then if the count is 1, we're going to run a custom function. We're going to call it move up. We'll write that in a moment. Now what we're going to do is, if it's not this, we're going to wait for another custom function. And then let's write that move up function now. Or another if statement, and this time we're going to check to see whether or not you are the alternate button. So if you are the alt button, do the following, and then we're going to have an eye-tween movement, much the same way we have done with a lot of the eye-tween moves. So we're going to have game object. Well, we don't want that one because it's capitalized on the G. Let's just change that. That's the correct capitalization. And we're going to be moving up on the Y. Let's just move this down so we can see where we're actually going to be moving to. And it's the transform, and it's this one. So let's copy this, paste it back in, and the time we're going to be taking is our button time. And that's a variable we're going to be able to adjust in the inspector. Ease type, again, we're going to just go with the linear. Capitalized again. And then we're going to close parenthesis. And then we're going to do an else. This will be if you are the new game button. And all we're going to do is we're just going to copy all of this and then paste it, but with a different Y coordinate. Okay, so what we've actually done is we've put the Y coordinates in the wrong way round. So let's copy this and put them in correct. So that's the y coordinate of the alternate button. As you can see there, we had actually done the wrong way around. So that's the correct one. So that's move up done. So now we'll do our wait for it command, or function. We'll do another yield for seconds. And then we'll set the variable as button in. And again, another variable we'll expose to Unity. And then if count is equal to 0, then count plus 1. So then what will happen is wait for function will call if count is not 0. When it's called, if count is 0, count will equal plus 1. But only after a set period of time, which we will set in the inspector. So that will give us our delay to move the asteroids up to where we designated in the iTween section. Now we're going to write the clicking function. So on mouse up, so after the mouse button has been clicked in, if it goes up when it's over the top of this particular object, we're first of all going to check if you've clicked on the Alt button or if you've clicked on the New Game button. So simple check, is this the Alt button? So is this got the tick box on or off? We'll just put in some comments in here because we don't actually have anything to do with the Alt button at the moment. So alternate button could be used for a web address. And then if we do an else, and then this will fire if we've clicked on the new game button. So we're going to go with an application load level. And then this is where we need to know the number. So we need to capitalize this. And then this is where if we go into build settings, you can actually see there is numbers over here. So whereas in UScript we type it in JavaScript you actually need to know the load order number. So it will be number 1 for level 1, or scene 1 as it's referred to. We'll close that parenthesis. Now what we need to do is take a look at another function, and this is going to be the scaling function. So this is going to be on mouse enter and on mouse leave, or no, not leave, on mouse exit, apologies. And what these are going to do, these are going to scale the asteroids once your mouse is hovering over them, to give the indication this is what you're about to click on. So we're going to scale the objects, and this is the two variables that we set earlier, the scale forward and scale back. So we're going to do it on the X, Y and Z. So button scale forward on mouse enter, and on mouse exit we're going to do that on scale back. So we're just going to copy this so we don't have to keep typing it out. So next Y, paste, and then Z, paste. And the next one we're going to do is on mouse exit. And then all we're going to do exactly the same thing. I'll actually just copy and paste it, and then we just need to change forward to backward. But we've actually just changed it in the wrong place. Let's change that back. It's actually the exit we need to change, isn't it? I'll copy this, and then we'll just adjust these. And that all looks good. Let's save this. Minimize mono and give it a try. Oh, that's a lot of... Okay, it looks like I missed a closed parenthesis up here. Ah, right, yeah, that squirrely bracket doesn't have a close. So it needs to be another one down here. Let's just tab that one to the right place. There we go. Unknown identifier button in. It's a variable. Did we not? Oh no, we didn't actually. We haven't actually provided a variable button in. Let's pop that in now. Let's just drop that down a line and put button in here. Oh, let's spell it correctly. Now let's give it a try. Nothing showing up in the console. Let's take a look. Let's add these to the actual asteroids. Now we've got all of these variables now showing. Now the Alt button, we're going to tick it on the question mark, and we're going to leave it off so it's false when it's on the new game option. I'm just going to type in some numbers here. I want everything to scale back to 1. So we're going to do 3.5 and 0.8 and 0.5. Okay, that's not how it's meant to work. It appears to be disappearing. Shrinking into nothingness. Okay, let's figure out why that's doing it. Let's change the count to 1. No, that hasn't fixed anything. Put that back to 0. Oh, that's what we didn't do. They're already at their designated sections. There we go. That's still an issue, although it looks kind of funny. That's not the effect we were going for. try setting these back to 0. Now they come up fine, but then they shrink to nothingness when we put a mouse over them, and they don't come back. Let's take a look back in here. I know it's going to be obvious, it's probably staring me in the face. Let's set these to 1. Now that one's growing bigger, and it's scaled to 0.5 at the moment. So if we set that to 0.5, and now play it, they should stay the same. Oh no, that's going up and then coming down. That's the effect I want, but not quite that extreme. We can't. It doesn't look like we can affect it while we're actually playing. That's so that's a 1.5. And that's the effect we're looking for, but it's a little bit too big. I don't know. No, well, I'm okay. That size is alright with me for the time being.